Welcome to the CPM Customer Success Podcast, where we help Office of Finance leaders enable an exact solution to enhance their corporate performance without spending countless nights and weekends in the office. Hi, I'm your host, Andy Smetana from Nova Advisory. Nova Advisory is a 100% OneStream professional services diamond implementation partner. We help OneStream customers and prospective OneStream customers get the most out of their OneStream investments. For CPM Customer Success listeners, we now have a weekly email newsletter to keep you informed on the latest CPM Customer Success news. By subscribing today, we'll keep you informed on episode releases, including customer success stories, OneStream interviews, and capabilities to keep you up to date about OneStream's unified platform for finance. You can check that out now at Nova Advisory's website, novaadvisory.com/podcast, and subscribe to the CPM Customer Success Podcast newsletter today. If you're leading finance in an industrial manufacturing organization, you understand complexity. It lives in your ERP landscape, your acquisitions, your intercompany activity, your receivables, your charts of accounts, and your reporting structure. So today we're going to walk through 3 transformation stories from companies in the industrial manufacturing industry. Each of these organizations have faced a different type of manufacturing finance complexity. And in each case, the combination of a unified platform and strong implementation design turn that complexity into clarity. Industrial manufacturers, they often operate across multiple countries, facilities, and divisions. Growth typically comes through acquisitions, and from that comes fragmented ERP systems, which bring inconsistent charts of accounts, unclear workflows, and a heavy reliance on Excel. The problem is rarely effort. Instead, it's visibility and control. Without that, leaders struggle to answer simple but critical questions like, where exactly are margin issues originating? What is the real status of receivables? How quickly can we integrate a newly acquired entity? And are we confident in the numbers we're reporting? Let's look at how 3 organizations have addressed those questions and achieved CPM customer success for their organizations. Today's first CPM customer success story is a global industrial manufacturer which operates across the US, Europe, and Asia. They're headquartered in California. For this story, we'll call them Westbridge Industrial Systems. Westbridge's biggest pain point was accounts receivables. They had a complete lack of visibility into their AR data. They had disparate systems, unclear ownership, and inconsistent processes. All of these made it nearly impossible for executives to identify root causes of collection issues. Leadership couldn't drill down into client-level details easily. There's no structured accountability model. And in manufacturing, working capital matters. When receivables lack clarity, cash flow suffers. Nova Advisory supported Westbridge in implementing OneStream to act as a single source of truth of data. We built a real-time dashboard that provided both the AR team and executives with visibility into the receivables. Things like client details, comments, and amounts, all within a structured workflow environment. The results were significant. During implementation, the AR team discovered $7 million in unapplied cash, just sitting unaccounted for. Formalized processes were built around collections, including a leadership concept that provided transparency and accountability across teams. For Westbridge, OneStream didn't just automate reporting, it introduced operational discipline into their collections process. And for a CFO of a manufacturing organization, that is transformational. Visibility into working capital is not a reporting improvement, it's a balance sheet improvement. In industrial manufacturing, AR can become fragmented across plants, regions, and legacy systems. Without centralized visibility, leadership was forced to operate reactively. Westbridge demonstrates that OneStream is not just a consolidations tool. When designed correctly, it becomes a control tower for operational finance. Let's shift now to this week's second customer success story, which involves a distributor of wire, cable, and connectivity solutions serving industrial, telecom, and automation markets. We'll call them Midland Connectivity Group. Midland was a private equity portfolio company. They're based in the U.S., and they faced a high-pressure scenario. Following an acquisition, they needed to carve out their own OneStream environment from their former parent company. The implementation planned had a May timeframe. And then in December, just 5 months prior to the planned go-live, leadership told the team that separation needed to occur immediately, within the same month. Finance teams in carve-out scenarios understand the stakes. You must transition critical financial data without disrupting the close. And at the same time, you can't sacrifice long-term system design for short-term survival. Project priorities shifted immediately. Nova Advisory's first objective was to get Midland operational on OneStream for their January close. Critical data was transitioned quickly, ensuring business continuity. Once stabilization was achieved, Nova focused on foundational design improvements. The chart of accounts were redesigned. Entity and segment hierarchies were rebuilt. The structure was positioned to support future functionality, including budget planning, account reconciliations, task management, and people planning. The outcome was remarkable. The project went live a month early and under budget. And additionally, pro forma reporting capabilities were created so leadership could clearly report acquisition financials with confidence. OneStream became the foundation for financial independence and scalable growth at Midland. Industrial manufacturers frequently operate in private equity environments or growth through acquisition models. Carve-outs, integrations, and ERP transitions are all very common strategic milestones. The ability to rapidly deploy OneStream for stabilization, then evolve the design into a long-term scalable architecture is critical. Speed matters, but so does design. Our final CPM customer success story for this week involves a global packaging manufacturer with more than 33,000 employees and facilities across 47 countries. Let's call them Rain Packaging. Rain operates 4 autonomous business divisions, and they're managing over 100 unique data sources. Each division had its own charts of accounts and input structures. Workflow and security required significant enhancements. Data conversions was especially complex because a new global chart of accounts was required. This is a classic global manufacturing challenge. Decentralized growth leads to fragmented reporting logic, and over time, corporate loses standardization and transparency. Nova Advisory led both a domestic and international functional requirements sessions for a new global design within OneStream. A complete chart of accounts redesign was implemented, global workflows and security models were deployed to over 700 global users. Data conversion activities were accelerated. Corporate planning was brought into OneStream as well, eliminating the disparate systems and redundancies. OneStream became a single source of truth for all reporting. For a company operating across 47 countries, that kind of standardization is not simply operational improvement. It's governance and it's transformational. Leadership gained consistent reporting across divisions. Finance teams operated within defined workflows. Security and auditability improved. And most importantly, global visibility became possible. So if you're leading a finance organization within an industrial manufacturing company, complexity is not going to go away. Acquisitions will continue, global operations will expand, and data volumes will only increase. The question is whether your architecture that you currently have can support that kind of growth. Across our 3 CPM customer success stories from today, the surface level challenges appear different. One was AR visibility. One was carving out under deadline pressures. One was global consolidation standardization. But the underlying issues were the same. Finance complexity had outgrown the system architecture supporting it. OneStream provided the unified platform. Nova Advisory provided the design, prioritization, and execution. And in manufacturing environments especially, success depends on the scalable charts of accounts, thoughtful entity and segment hierarchies, clear ownership of workflows, controlled data integrations, security structures that support global scale, and finally the ability to drill down into operational detail. And when those elements are aligned, finance shifts from reactive problem solving to proactive performance management. When Westbridge gained real-time AR visibility, their working capital control improved. When Midland stabilized and redesigned during a carve-out, financial independence accelerated. And when RAIN standardized globally, leadership gained consistent, reliable reporting across continents. These are not just incremental improvements. For CFOs and finance leaders in industrial manufacturing, that kind of structural transformation is what enables strategic leadership. Automation builds trust in the numbers, unified architecture builds confidence in reporting, scalable design supports growth, finance becomes faster, more visible, and more influential. Thanks for joining us for this episode of CPM Customer Success. Reminder to check out the CPM Customer Success weekly email newsletter to stay informed of the latest CPM Customer Success episodes and OneStream news. You can check that out now at the Nova Advisory website, novaadvisory.com/podcast, and subscribe to the CPM Customer Success Podcast email newsletter today. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you next week for another episode of CPM Customer Success.